And we're live. Hello, everybody. This is the CultureMyPeople.com podcast about comics called The Monthly Issue Weekly. This is episode 7. My name is Michael Nip, as you can see on this little thing on the lower third here that I just figured out how to do on Google+. And this is my co-host, Drewby.
I also know how to do fancy internet stuff now. You can see my name and everything. It's like I'm professional or something. Who knew?
We're not professional in any sense. So, like I mentioned, this is the show where we talk about comics. We normally do this show, like we put the show out on Friday, so everyone can have already read comics. So, I will say that if you are watching it now and you haven't read comics that you're going to get, it's Friday's show, so if you we'll post everything on the site Friday. It's going to be weird because we're recording it live, but we're not posting it on the same days that we're recording it. But you can still get to it on YouTube. So I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
But you can watch it now.
Yeah. Have fun. And if you don't read comic books at all, then welcome. Hopefully we'll get you interested in comic books.
We've done it before. We'll do it again. So normally we just talk about the comic books that we've been reading during the current week that we record the show. And as per usual, we'll start with Drewby. You have a big week for comics this week?
Yeah. I had kind of a normal week is what I was expecting. The problem was I came out of the comic book store with more comic books than I thought I was going to. So we'll start off with the ones
here's
I was...
the thing.
Uh-huh.
Real quick. You're the one that always says that, like, I've actually listed the different comics I follow, and you thought that I followed a lot of comic books, and I do follow a lot of comic books. The difference is I only buy the comics I said I follow, while you tend to always come out of the comic book store with comics you did not intend on buying.
See, I usually come out of the comic book store with comic books that I did intend on buying. The comics that I don't plan on buying are usually like trades I buy off of Amazon. Some of those I will talk about. I mentioned last week Justice League and Batman and Robin, Volume 1s of both of those. But today was really the first time that I think I probably walked out of Legend with more comic books than I was planning on getting initially. Like, I literally generally walked in there, it's like, I'm just going to get these regular things. And I started walking around and looking at stuff, and I was like, well, let's take a look at some. So I started looking into. Oh, well, I'll get into that whole story. I'll get into that. So, what I'm going to start off, I will talk about. Picked up issue 2 of the new Suicide Squad issue.
Okay.
So I picked that up, read it. I like this issue. It is way better than Future's End.
Could that be said of all the issues you picked up this week?
Yes. Yes. I read it. I really liked it. The artwork was good. I enjoyed the artwork. The story took a turn that I wasn't expecting. It's kind of I'm not going to spoil this. I think you guys should read this. This is issue 2. So if you're at all interested in the Suicide Squad, or at least the new Suicide Squad, this is pretty easy to pick up and get caught up on, and then follow on a monthly basis. So, I thought it was a great issue. Joker's daughter is weird.
She's really weird. As you can see, I also have this issue, so I can actually talk about this one with you. Since I also read it this week, I didn't like it that much. I thought it was fine, but I thought it had some weak spots. Namely, like, I think it's the same thing you were alluding to. There's a character that is normally awesome that decides to just be sucky the entire issue.
Yes. Yes. And it was just, I don't know, it didn't feel like the Suicide Squad in the way that the Suicide Squad is supposed to be. Like, in this issue, there's this is all I'm going to say. There's a part where the Mantis, who is kind of one of the leaders, one of the more powerful guys there, he's basically like, all right, guys, you just got to trust me, and we'll be fine. You just got to trust me. And I'm just like, This is the Suicide Squad. This is a bunch of supervillains who don't care about anybody except themselves. How in the heck are they supposed to like trust him and accept leadership? The only one of these, because there's 4 members of the Suicide Squad. Well, 4 that are running around, and like Harley Quinn is the only one who like follows the Joker around. But then you got Joker's daughter, who I guess would follow the Joker around, but hasn't been established yet. And you got Deadshot, who does his own thing. Mantis does his own thing, and Mantis is like, oh guys, follow me, we're gonna be all right. And I'm just like, this doesn't seem like Suicide Squad. It doesn't seem right. Like if it should fit the book.
Well, the main thing is, like I mentioned last week, I got the first trade of the regular New 52 Suicide Squad, not the new Suicide Squad, and I thought that was really, really, really good, and I thought that really did a good job of having each character have their own motivations and have a reason to work together while not seeming like a cohesive team. I really think Volume 1 of the Suicide Squad is really good, which is kind of why I thought this just felt really disjointed and kind of like, it is a spoiler, but like one of the members of the Suicide Squad just started last week and already betrayed the team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I thought it was good. Like I said, it was better than Futures End, which is the next issue I'm going to talk about. So you've got Futures End number 15, issue number 15. This is an interesting comic, and in fact, it seems like it's maybe finally starting to get somewhere. They alluded to a couple different things. I still have like no idea like what the heck is going on in like the overall arching story. Like issue 0 explains it all, and so you know where this is all eventually going to lead. But it's very, very, very slowly building up to that. But looks like they're finally starting to get in. They introduced a character that I'm kind of interested in. I don't remember his last name, but his name is Scott something, and he's basically an escape artist. There was an episode of JLU about him. They introduced him in this issue, and then Lois is starting to talk about like this is overshadowing, and Frankenstein is like, guys, I had this dream, and they're like, oh, that's nice. He's like, no, you don't understand. Dreams are like very rare. Like the last one I had was 200 years ago, and something bad is coming. And so like, it might be getting somewhere. The thing that I'm seeing, and it ended in New Suicide Squad and in Batman, which I'll get to, is that I think and Grayson as well. They are all going to have an issue, a tie-in to the Futures End story arc, in some way.
Okay, I'll mention that too. I don't think it's an issue for Batman. It looks like they're writing an entire. It's called they in the back here. I've got it. There's like an ad for it. It says, check out Batman Futures End number 1. I think they're planning on having that be a running series for a while.
Batman. Well, there's at the end, the very last scene where he talks, where there's the art where it says, let me see if I can show it here. I don't know how well it shows. Right there, where basically
and then flip one more page over.
Right, I looked at.
It says Batman's Futures End number 1, meaning it's not a Futures End tie-in issue. It looks like it's another series of Batman.
Batman Futures End. Okay, well, anyway, so every stuff might be tying in. I don't know how well that's going to work. Hopefully it works out pretty awesomely. Maybe they'll bring relevance to the Futures End story, and maybe we'll pass on to the boring end. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't know if it's going to bring relevance to the Futures End story because they're going to be separate issues that are not in Futures End, which may mean that they could be awesome, but Futures End may continue to suck if they're putting all the cool story in each of the tie-ins.
Which just sounds like a bad idea. But I don't know, they've committed. So, Futures End, still not super awesome, but I will keep you all posted. Next one I want to talk about, the other weekly series that I've been following, Batman Eternal. This cover art is actually pretty sweet. I like it. Um, so as Batman Eternal started, Jim Gordon basically shot a control panel in a train station and like killed a bunch of people on accident because he thought that the guy was pulling a gun, but the guy wasn't pulling a gun. And so this issue deals a lot with Batgirl trying to figure out what happened to her father, um, and tracing it down. And basically, they end up finding a villain who it looks like might be behind everything. Um, but he hypnotizes her to think that the two people she's with, Batwoman and Red Hood, are Joker and James Gordon Jr. And so back for most of the issue, Batgirl just goes crazy and is basically beating the heck out of Jason Todd. And then there's a couple other side stories as well. This issue is still good. I feel they're catching up to the villain. He's not as far ahead as he appeared early on. And the art was not one of my favorites out of the Eternal, but that's what you get for a weekly issue. There's this weird picture of Joker. I'm not sure how well it'll come across. I'll try, but there's a weird. There it is. There it is. It's just a weird
That's
picture.
interesting.
Yeah, the art style is different. I've seen worse in this series. I think Eternal was issued 11 or 12 or something like that. Was garbage. So but we get to continue stories of Jim. Batman is continuing to research what the heck is going on in Arkham Asylum, which is still kind of weird. But
I'm interested in catching up on that series.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's worth it. I think it's actually something to get caught up on. There's also a jailbreak, so there's that plotline too. The last of the issues that I purchased is Batman, Batman 34, and we've kind of already talked about it a little bit. This is the first issue post Zero Year, and I liked it. It seems like it might be its own individual story, and then they'll just or just a one-off.
Well, it's kind of a filler issue.
Yeah, but I thought it was a good filler issue. I liked it. I hope that it's just a one blam Batman story in the universe, and they just move on to something else. I thought it worked. I thought I really enjoyed it. It was just a kind of a murder mystery, but instead of Bat Eternal, which is dragging a murder mystery out for 19 issues now, which will end up being a full year. This is just like a one issue. Yeah, you could read this and move on, and I liked it. It was a nice change of pace from a lot of the stuff that I'm reading. The art was good. It was different than some of the other Batman, but I didn't mind it. And one thing I like about this issue too is something I haven't noticed a lot in the DC stuff, is that it has continuity with Baternal. And since they're both being written by Snyder, that kind of makes sense. But Justice League Volume 1 their Batman is in it. Technically, it takes place 5 years before any of the New 52 stuff. But there's that Batman and Robin Volume 1, which takes place during the same time of the Court of the Owls. It doesn't seem to have a lot of continuity as far as it's not referencing to anything, and it's almost to the point where if both of these things are so big, how are they telling multiple stories? But at least in this Batman issue, they reference he's like, yeah, Jim Gordon is in jail, all this stuff is going on, but I still have a responsibility to protect my city, and he goes off to catch this murder. So I really like this issue. It's a shame that I have to wait a whole another month to get another straight up Batman issue. Did you like the issue?
I don't know if I liked it or not. I think it felt kind of rushed. I think they could have probably had him. There was a lot of things that he already knew when he was searching for the murderer that I think it would have been cool to figure out how he found that stuff, whereas it just assumed he knew it. I mean, it was obviously a filler issue, and then it ends with a, hey, we're going to tie into Future's End. And so I was looking forward to being able to buy a Batman series again. I don't know if I want to start tying into the Future's End stuff, because I don't know what's going on in Future's End, and the way that it sounds like from you and other places, I don't really think I want to catch up in Future's End. So I I kind of I would not mind if they did a Batman Future's End #1 and then kept the regular Batman series going and just had, even if they just had more one-off issues in between uh, what's going on in Paternal. Like, I don't mind the one-off issue arcs. Like, I think that Moon Knight can do it well. So if Batman, if they try different things with a couple one-off arcs or something like that, I think I would enjoy that. I did think this one was a little rushed. The art style was different, and sometimes I think it works better than others. It made the dude look way creepy, and like his violence that he was performing way creepy, and I thought that worked really well. I don't like how it made look like Batman look really skinny, but I think it worked for some other parts. So yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. Like it's not it wasn't Greg Capullo doing the art on this issue, which he does the art for the Court of the Owl stuff. I think he did Death in the Family. I know he did Zero Year. I really like his art. I think for Batman, I thought it was great. He didn't do this one, but the art still, it didn't bother me a whole lot. Not nearly as, it wasn't nearly as bad as that one. I probably have it here somewhere. That one Bat Journal. So, next one I bought this last week, and I finished it. Justice League Volume 1. This issue, this volume, you have issues, or do you have the trade?
I have the issues.
Okay. This trade, this volume, is interesting. The whole plot of this entire series takes place 5 years before, I believe, before the New 52 started. I think they're taking the superheroes. What?
Is that the same thing that I read? Is that the one where like one of the first issues is like Cyborg getting made or whatever? Okay.
Cyborg is right there. Yep. Yes. Yeah. This is the first 7 issues, I believe, and Cyborg gets made in like issue 2 or 3. So, I thought I don't know how well I like the caricatures of the way these guys are written. Green Lantern, I guess, is supposed to Hal Jordan is supposed to be kind of cocky and arrogant and just kind of like, oh, I'm awesome, look at me, I've got my lantern ring, I can do anything. Flash is kind of like calm, cool-headed. He wasn't very funny, but I think that's the Barry Allen character. I'm more used to the Wally West, who's kind of funny and cracking jokes. Wonder Woman is
I'm almost positive he cracks jokes during that series.
Barry Allen?
Yeah. Yes, Flash. If you go back and read it, I think you'll notice more than I read it twice, and I noticed them more the second time.
Okay.
He does make jokes. He's cracking wise.
Okay. Not a whole lot. I thought. Okay, so you got that. Aquaman he wasn't bad. I mean, he's Aquaman. I thought they did
So
that
you
right.
mean he was bad?
I don't hate Aquaman as much as everyone else does, but that's just me. Superman, I probably had Batman, I had the biggest beat, but I'll get to that in a minute. Superman, sorry, this is 5 years pre-New 52 launch, so pre-Court of the Owls. None of these guys knew of like who Superman was. He hadn't really established himself as a super guy. All of, like, Bruce Wayne knows is that there's an alien in Metropolis, and I've got to be careful of him. He doesn't know that he's Superman, or really, and like even like Hal Jordan is like, let's go find this dude and talk to him. Maybe he knows something about this event that happened. I'm not gonna spoil it. And then like they go find Superman. He's like all angry and he's like, "What are you doing? Get out of my city!" And then like they fight, and it's like Superman is supposed to be like this, Boy Scout. Who are you? Why are you here? They hadn't even really done anything. And he was already like just beating the crap out of him. So I really didn't like that portrayal of Superman. Wonder Woman was kind of this idiot who was like, "I'm here to like save humanity," and then like she's walking around. It's like, "What is this treat? Oh, it's ice cream. I like it." It's just I didn't like two. I thought those were kind of dumb in the
To
way
be
they did them.
fair, if you were raised on a Greek mythological island and you came to America, you probably wouldn't know what ice cream is.
Yes, but it was like the way they did it was like I don't know. I don't. She's I never really viewed her as like that as that stupid, and
I
they
find
kind
it
of
odd that I
portrayed it
think I like a DC comic more than you.
like. I mean, I liked it. I just thought the characters I thought were they just did pretty poorly. My biggest beef was with Batman. Um, when they're doing their thing and they're fighting Darkseid as the villain in these ones, when they're fighting and figuring out all this stuff, Batman is trying to calm down Hal Jordan, and he just pulls off his mask and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Bruce Wayne," and he's like, "This is why," and he's like, "I'm a human," and he like goes into like his whole like why he's Batman. Like my parents were shot in front of me, and I vowed to train to so that stuff like that would never have to happen to other human beings or something like that. And it's just like, what the heck? Batman
To be
doesn't reveal the
fair,
secret identity to
to be fair,
anybody.
this would have been happening probably around 0 year.
No, I don't think
What do you
so.
mean, no?
I
5 years
don't.
before the New 52, when does 0 year take place?
I thought it happened farther back than that.
Okay.
So
Either way, he would not have been as established as he is now.
even still, like it was, yeah, and everyone was like, they would see Batman, like Barry Allen would see Bat. Whoa, he's real! Like we thought you were like a vampire. You don't have any superpowers. It's so that was just like, really, guys, are you all this stupid? You didn't know that any of each other existed. I don't know. I just didn't. I didn't really like that much. But I guess they have to start somewhere in a Justice League because they have to meet each other at some point. Cyborg was kind of cool as a character. I really don't know a lot about him. Didn't really follow him, but overall, I was okay with this comic, with these trades. I want to read more Justice League. This wasn't so bad as to stop me from reading it, but it wasn't my favorite as far as this stuff. It was a fun read. I'll give it that. It was a fun read.
I think
The
I
one
got the next two issues after that, and I didn't think they were very interesting, the storyline or whatever, so that's where I stopped.
eventually, I don't know what Volume 3 is. I think Volume 4 is basically, that's when it starts to get into Forever Evil, and I want to read that series. I want to read that line. I want to know what happens there. But I'll get into that more of that in just a minute. Um, the one I'm reading right now is the other volume I picked up last week, Batman and Robin, Volume 1. This is a really good volume. I like it. I would I heard on another podcast that we listened to, a comic vine, that the Born to Kill, which is the title of this storyline, was a good story, and I bought it. I had already wanted to read Batman and Robin because I'm trying to build up to Batman Incorporated 1 through 8, where Damian Wayne dies. I don't think that happened a long time ago. I don't think that's really much of a spoiler. But I'm trying to get caught up. I want to read that. So I'm reading this right now, and it's really good. I think it's a better story than Justice League. Batman is struggling, is trying to figure out, how he's supposed to be a proper father. He's like, he wants to be a father, but he's not really fully listening to Damian, and that relationship. I'm learning a lot about Damian as a character. He's kind of a jerkwad. But then again, being trained as an assassin since the age of 3, that probably would do that to you. They introduced a new character. I'm learning a little bit more about Batman's past. So,
Who trained Damien as an assassin?
the League,
Raish?
Talia is specifically his mom, but yeah, she raised him in the League of Assassins. So Raish probably had something to do with his training. Did you
Raish is
not know
my
that?
homeboy whenever we play DC Deck Builder.
So yeah, this is good. I'd recommend this one. The Batman and Robin. I would recommend this book to somebody. I really like it. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope we can finish it soon. The last book I'll talk about, and this is the one unexpected buy that I made today. I was looking, I was running around at Legend, and I was just looking at different stuff. I had already picked out the 4 issues that I wanted, and I was just browsing, and I was like, well, let me check out Justice League. And so I started pulling out Justice League, thinking I'll start getting caught up on Forever Evil. And then I'm like, well, from my understanding of Forever Evil is that it ties into Earth 2. And so I asked the gentleman there, I'm like, do I need to read Earth 2 to be okay with understand what's going on in Forever Evil? And he said, no, not really. I mean, there's a couple nuance, small things you might understand, but basically he was saying it's not really that important. But he made the comment that Earth 2 was his favorite series right now. And I was like, wait, did you say Earth 2 is your favorite? And he's like, yeah, there was one other I don't even remember what he said. It wasn't anything that I was familiar with. And then Earth 2 are the 2 favorite stories that are right now. And so my interest was piqued. And I came out with Volume 1 of Earth 2. Do you know anything about Earth 2?
No. But it sounds like a parallel universe.
It is the Justice Lords. And that makes me excited. After playing Injustice, that storyline was super interesting to me. You know, the Justice League basically goes evil. We've talked about Irredeemable on the show, which I haven't read yet. It's over there on my table. That I need to read yet. But it's the idea of a Superman-like figure just going evil and taking over the world. That concept is super, super interesting to me. And the fact that there was an entire DC book that was based inside the universe that I already love about that concept, I was like, sold. I want to read this. He said, I came to me recommended by him, and I'm really excited to start reading this. I want to figure out what's going to happen. So I haven't opened it yet. Once I finish Batman and Robin, I should probably open up. I have a Nightwing volume over there. I have a Suicide Squad volume. I have an Irredeemable volume, and then I have a Damian and Batman volume, and then I've got this one. So I've got like a bunch of comics to read over the next little bit. So, but I'll keep you guys posted on this. I'm super looking forward to this. Earth 2, everybody. Earth 2.
Nice. Is that your list? You said you're done?
That's everything that I've really got to talk about right now. Yeah.
Okay, I was just scrolling through my Amazon wish list. Black Widow Volume 1 is available now. That's the only one that it looks like I was waiting on that is available now.
Is that the Marvel Now? I'm assuming.
No, like the actual trade. I was looking at the trades.
Yeah, but how old is that? Is the Volume 1 for that?
Oh yes, it's the Marvel Now. I've already read the first issue on Marvel Unlimited. It was good.
Are there not a lot of issues on Marvel Unlimited? I mean, do you need the volume?
There's only 2 issues on Marvel Unlimited. It's a relatively new thing. The volume just came out. That's why I was watching it.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, so talk about this week. So this week, we already mentioned, like, there were DC comics. Normally I don't buy DC comics, but these are the 2 that I'm following current, and they came out this week. We already talked about that a little bit.
Yep.
And then I also had 4 issues that I really wanted to pay attention to because I'm already following the series, and then I also was interested in picking up Spider-Man 2099, especially because it's going to tie into the Spider-Verse, which is like the big Spider-Man event that's going on. So I didn't actually get to read the Marvel or the Spider-Man 2099s, so I'll probably talk about those next week. But I did get to read those 2 issues that we already talked about, plus the 4 that I have in my hands. So starting with this one, which happens to be Original Sin number 7 for those who can't see the video.
Yeah.
This is a spoiler. This is definitely a spoiler if you recognize this character and have read any of the other Original Sins. There's a dude on the front who has an eye patch and some guns, and it's called The Last Battleground. So, have you read issue 6? How far are you in Original Sin, Drewby?
4, I think.
Okay, so you won't know very much what's going on. I don't want to spoil much, but things happen in this issue, and I can't tell if they were happening in real life or like people are envisioning them, because like there is a Eye of the Watcher going around, which is telling everyone secrets. So there are scenes that I don't know whether they're real or whether they're taking place in someone's mind because they're seeing something that they didn't actually experience. So I actually don't know that much about what's happening, and I don't know whether that's intended or not. So I don't know whether this is really awesome or really weird of an issue, but I mean, if you have been following the series and you see the cover of this issue, you'll kind of know what this issue's main plot thread happens to be. So
my first thought was Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, which I know he's DC, but that guy looks a lot like
he kind of does. Deadpool is in a different comic, not one that I read this week, but Deadpool, as an old person, is in All New X-Men, and he was in Battle of the Atom. Anyway, when I bought this, the guy at the comic shop gave me this rubber bouncy ball glow-in-the-dark Watcher eye that says Original Sin and Marvel on it. So that was pretty cool.
That's an awesome thing. I love it. I think that's a great idea.
I don't know whether this is because I bought Original Sin 7, because he recognized that I've bought Original Sin 1 through 7 at his store, or because I spent $30 at the comic book store today. I don't know. So he gave me that, which is cool. I'm going to use it. It's a bouncy ball. I like bouncy balls.
Does Charlie like bouncy balls?
I don't think so. He's probably scared of them. My dog is a coward. All right, so this Amazing X-Men number 30.
All New X-Men, you doofus.
Did I say Amazing X-Men? That is a completely different comic. All New X-Men. I read Amazing X-Men on Marvel Unlimited. Yes. And it's weird because last time I read it, it was about pirates in heaven. So there we go. Anyway, All New X-Men. This is the one that normally does all kinds of weird time travel along with Uncanny X-Men. The cover, in case you're listening to the audio version, is Angel and I can't remember her name, but she is the X23. X23 and Angel are making out on the cover, and that's almost the entirety of the issue. It's probably half the issue. Half the issue is them making out and getting into a bar fight and then making out. And then the rest of the issue is the rest of the issue is about Jean Grey and what's her name? Emma Frost. Emma Frost is trying to train young Jean Grey, and all of the conflicts that you think would arise because Jean Grey, adult Jean Grey in the normal timeline is like a super big rival with Emma Frost for Scott Summers' love. So like there's all kinds of contention there. It ends really weird. It was kind of a weak issue, ultimately. Go ahead.
Who would want that tool bag's love? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a really weird thing. Okay, real quick. It's kind of a spoiler. Well, I don't know if it is a spoiler. It acts like it's already established. I just don't remember when it was established. Is Peter Quill Star-Lord?
Yes.
Okay, then evidently... What?
How did you not know that?
I was pretty sure that Peter Quill was Star-Lord. I just don't know when Kitty Pryde started dating Star-Lord, because Kitty Pryde is dating Star-Lord in this issue. And they acted like it was an established thing. Yeah, they acted like it was an established thing, and I don't remember that happening. I don't know if it happened in... Like, I've read the last 3 or 4 issues of All New X-Men, so maybe it happened before that, and I just missed it, because there is a gap between what I've read in Marvel Unlimited and what I've read in actual issues. So maybe it happened during that point, or maybe it happened in a Guardians of the Galaxy issue, because I don't read that comic, or maybe it happened in Legendary Star-Lord, because I don't read that comic. I don't know, but she's dating Star-Lord. And it's like, she was like, oh, Peter Quill, and I was like, that's Star-Lord, I think.
How?
So...
What does he got time for that? He's like off saving the galaxy.
Kind of. They're not together. Like, they were talking through like hologram communicators. And also, I know that during the gap of the comics that I missed, there was a big thing where the Guardians of the Galaxy had the X-Men in space, and there was a timeline that took place up there. So maybe that's when it happened. I don't know. Overall, I thought it was an okay issue. It was kind of weak.
Okay.
I guess next I will talk about Captain America, issue 23. Um, Once again, for those of you that cannot see the picture, there is a character in a gold suit who is taking off his helmet and revealing himself to Steve Rogers as Captain America, which if you have not, I've not really talked about it much, but basically the spoiler is, well, the spoiler from many issues ago now is that Captain America lost all of his powers, and the super serum left his body, and now he's super old, so he's standing here with a cane, and there's a character revealing himself. I won't spoil that, but let's just say that a lot of the things introduced in the Marvel Now original storyline for Captain America are coming into fruition now. So I've talked about that in past episodes of the podcast. If you really wanted to, you could speculate. But a lot of the things that kind of were alluded to or started happening back then are kind of happening now. And I think I like it. I think I'm a fan. We know that eventually Falcon is going to become Captain America. Mm-hmm. That did not happen in this issue. It wasn't even alluded to, really.
You were kind of expecting it, weren't you?
I was expecting someone to take over for Captain America. Falcon was not my primary choice. No, but he also, like, I think that's a great choice. Like, I'm not bothered by it or annoyed by it. It makes complete sense.
I'm not referring to the fact that you were expecting someone to take over. I'm saying that I thought had said you were expecting Falcon to take over for Cap in this issue of Cap.
Oh, yes. I was expecting Falcon to take over for Cap in the issue. Because last issue showed bad things happening on Earth and the Avengers assembling. I assumed that they would need a Cap figure for this issue, but different things are revealed this issue, and it kind of makes sense why they focused on those things instead. And if you've been following the Marvel Now Captain America series and you like it, it will definitely be it'll definitely be really cool for you. It's a good payoff. I think I mentioned it before. I can't decide if I think it's terrible or okay, the Marvel Now Captain America stuff leading up to this. So I like the payoffs they have here, but I don't know how much I like the series that led to here, so we'll see where it goes. I want to see. I think it'll be cool when Falcon becomes Captain America to see kind of different things that happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. The final issue that I actually read this week was this, which is Amazing Spider-Man number 5, which shows Black Cat and Electro electrocuting Spider-Man, and if you can see it up in the corner, that's the new Spider-Woman person that I mentioned last week. Her name is Silk. She is the character that got bit by the same spider that Peter Parker was bit by, and they've been alluding to her for the first 3 issues. They actually reveal her in issue 4, and she gets a little. They start making out because evidently they find themselves attracted to each other and they don't know why. But
okay.
Here's the thing. I'm just going to ignore that last thing that I just said. So the end of the issue ends with a very, very stereotypical Spider-Man plot point, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil it, is that someone's trying to reveal Peter Parker's identity by ripping his mask off on camera, which I feel like everything that's ever done Spider-Man has done up that plot point before, like revealing who Peter Parker is. The thing that confuses me most is things like in Civil War when Peter Parker revealed himself.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Peter Parker revealed himself in Civil War, and people in the I think it was Amazing Spider-Man issue 2, people in the Avengers didn't know that Peter Parker was Spider-Man until Captain America told them. Like, I don't know what happened, but for some reason a lot of people just straight up forgot that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. I'm almost positive that at least in the cartoon series, Black Cat knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, but she didn't. She doesn't know that in this issue, so I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool overall because I kind of like Silk, and I do like the dynamic of Black Cat and Electro working together and hating Spider-Man. There's some seriously bad puns and one-liners in this issue, but I think it works because it's Spider-Man.
Sounds
It's not Spider-Man
awesome.
saying them. Spider-Man is not saying them. Black Cat says all of the worst lines, but what? Like Spider-Man is. It's probably
Yeah.
one of the more kid comics that you can read. That's not a kid comic because it's kind of silly. But I don't know. I like it. I like Spider-Man. Um, that was my list. So that's all of my comics I read this week, and all the comics I bought this week, except for I bought Spider-Man 2099 and Spider-Man 2099 issue 2.
Okay. So you're getting caught up on that one then. That's awesome. 2099 is who is Spider? Do you know who Spider-Man 2099 is? Like who that's is it like a Peter Parker in the future or something like that?
It is not Peter Parker. It's a completely different person. I flipped through the beginning of the first issue, just like the first page or whatever, and it does a quick like explanation of who this guy is and why he has his powers. I don't actually know. It takes place in 2099. Like that's the year. It's not Peter Parker. This is after Peter Parker. It's a completely different universe. The thing that's most interesting is, I think I mentioned it last week. Doc Ock switches places with Spider-Man 2099. So Spider-Man 2099 is eventually going to end up in the present, which I think could be interesting. So
Okay.
yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah.
I was actually going to pull up the release calendar for Marvel because I know that I don't have any DC comics coming out next week. Do you know what you're looking forward to next week already, or have you looked to?
I will obviously Future's End, and Paternal. I'm pulling that up right now actually too. So I should have picked that up. I was so focused on trying to get everything read this week. Batman and Robin looks like that one comes out next week. That is actually going to be interesting. I don't know what they're going to do for that. We'll see. I think it should be a continuation of the Robin, Batman trying to chase down Robin. So we'll see what that is. Looks like a new Batwoman, but I don't care about that. Justice League, no, don't care about any of that. All right. Oh, Teen Titans 2, that'll come out. Oh, have you seen the ads? I don't know, since you don't read a lot of DC. Have you seen a lot of stuff for Multiversity?
I've seen the stuff. There's stuff at the end of either Batman or I saw some of those. I don't know what that
Yeah.
is.
I have no idea either. Maybe I'll check that one out. So it looks like I've got Batman and Robin, and then Teen Titans #2, which I'm looking forward to that. I like the first issue of that. And then I might check out this Multiversity #1. We'll see. I don't know. I'll
I'm
ask some
looking at the
guys
Marvel calendar,
about
and I don't understand. Like, if you look at the Marvel calendar before the week, like before a couple days before they come out, it's completely garbage. Like right now, like next week, it lists all new X-Men #30 coming out, which is the one I just showed you, like the one with uh, uh, Angel and X-23 on the cover, and like it lists a bunch of other comics that came out last week. Also, like Original Sin 7's on here too. All new Ghost Rider #6, which all new Ghost Rider #5 came out last week. So I don't know what's coming out next week. Maybe I don't have to buy any comics for one whole week. Maybe I'll buy a trade.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So I'm just looking at the description here for Multiversity #1, and this looks like the weirdest thing. Join visionary writer Grant Morrison, today's most talented artist, and a cast of unforgettable characters from 52 alternative Earths of the known DC multiverse. Prepare to meet the Vampire League of Earth 43, the Justice Riders of Earth 18, Super Demon, Doc Fate, Doc, the Super Sons of Superman and Batman, the Rampaging Retaliators of Earth 8, The Atomic Knights of Justice, Dino Cop, Sister Miracle, Lady Quark, The Legends of Sylvanas, The Nazi, New Reichsman of Earth 10, and the latest greatest superhero of Earth Prime. You. Whatever that means. I have no idea what this is gonna be. I'm kind of interested just to see the cover has a picture of a rabbit on it with a carrot, and it's like a big C. So I have no idea. I'll have to check. I'll have to look into this to see if it's at least worth picking up. I don't
I'm
know.
looking for the ad in
It's the last pages. I
Yes.
think.
Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's the last page of Suicide Squad. I don't like things that tell you not to buy them, and the ad for Multiversity says, "Do not buy this book." I think that's stupid. I really like the Lemony Snicket series of Unfortunate Event books. They did the same thing. Like if you're a weak stomach, don't read this book. In fact, nobody read this book. I think that's such a dumb marketing ploy.
Huh.
That also sounds like convoluted as heck. So that doesn't interest me.
Yeah. So it looks like I got 4 issues, and then depending on how far I get in Earth 2, or if it turns out super awesome, maybe I'll pick up the next volume. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, Teen
Nice.
Titans 2. I'm excited for that.
Cool. Okay, well, let's go and start wrapping up, I guess. That was a good talk. Drewby, how can people find you online if they want to?
Well, if you're watching the video, you'll notice my Twitter feed right there on the bottom, Drewby132. If you go, that's my Twitter profile. You can find me on there. From there, you can find my Google Plus profile, and I share funny things I find on the internet and stuff there, so you can check that out. Facebook, facebook.com/Drewby132, and you can find me there as well. Before I sign off completely, though, there is one thing I just want to plug something real quick, and that is my favorite comic book store of all time. Going there and coming out with Earth 2 and just talking to them about that.
One second. Before you preface this as being your favorite comic book store of all time, you must preface that you've probably only been to 5.
All right, my favorite comic book store of the local tri-state area. How about that?
Okay, if you want to call this 2-state area, tri-state area, that works.
Okay. But that preface is backed up considering they did just win, the best comic book store from San Diego Comic-Con.
I feel like opening with that would have been better than saying your favorite comic book store of all time, considering you haven't been to many.
You're such a critic. Anyway, if you live in the Omaha area, Omaha, Nebraska, check them out. It's totally worth it, at least just walking in there. I always have a good time whenever I go in there. Either just browsing the comic books that they've got on the shelves or talking to the guys that are there. Today, I overheard one of the guys, he was trying to remember the name of the Ed Sheeran song that was in the Hobbit movie. And I clarified, it was like, by the way, that's I See Fire. And then when he was like, oh, I love the Ed Sheeran's such a talented, I was like, yeah, I love that dude. Like, I seem to have stuff in common with like all those guys. At least, if not comic books, at least that one gentleman. This is the same gentleman who recommended Earth 2 for me. So if you're in the area, check them out. Give them at least a try, and see if you like it. It's just a great store. I want to plug them. They're awesome. I'm actually going to probably be setting up a pull file with them, probably before next week. So yeah, awesome.
I thought about doing that. I just hadn't done it yet.
The advantage of doing a pull file with Legend is they'll pull over all that stuff for you, obviously, but then it's 50% off all their backlog stuff, which can save you quite a bit of money.
Yeah, that sounds nice. I can see that being extremely valuable, depending on whether you're trying to actually catch up or not. I've generally just jumped on mid-storyline and bought volumes to catch up, but
yeah,
that could work.
Yeah, so... yeah, but anyway, check them out if you live around. Legend Comics. It's like at 50th and Leavenworth. Yeah.
This is the song you mentioned?
I See Fire. The song is good. It's a good song. That album is good. So, Um,
We should die tonight.
Yeah. Um, oh yeah, you were talking about Legend. You can find me on Twitter, also listed at the bottom screen, at twitter.com/MichaelNip, and my CHAELKNIPP for those audio listeners. You can also find me on facebook.com/TheRealMichaelNip. And uh,
bye, guys.